in the various organization. Okay, so that is those are the people that we expect. Also, product engineer and product enthusiasts as well are duly duly welcome. So let's quickly talk about a few things that you're going to gain today during this talk or during this presentation. So you're going to learn a lot about, you understand what exactly is product testing, what's the entire life cycle of product testing. Okay, why do we need to test our products? That's very important. So we have product managers here today that will be talking to us on the importance of product testing. Business owners will also talk to us from their own point of view, why they think product testing is very important. At this junction, I would like to say something very important, that I think most of the times when they are putting together a team, so like when they're putting together a team that would okay, what's my face? Great, so just a minute. You're going to see my face in just a minute. Okay, great. So can you see my face? So this is Isaac that is speaking, right? So
yeah, face. Go ahead.
Yeah, so if we're talking about when people are putting together a team, maybe a team of product people that will build their product, most of the times there's a very major stakeholders that we always leave behind, and that is product testers. It's either we forget product testers, they have them as the last minute, they add them to the team at the last minute, or we don't even just remember them at all. So today we're going to see why it's important for us to have this team of experts, or to have them as part of our team of experts, not just as a subordinate, but as a key, as in having them as key players. Okay, so I think I've talked about that. Then also we'll also learn about how to integrate software testing process and team into your current processes. Okay, why should you have? How do you integrate them? How do you put them in your product development plan? Okay, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the full life cycle. I think I mentioned that before. And one of the major things that Testify would do for us is to give exclusive access to carrying out end-to-end software testing of our products. So what does it look like to have API testing, web application testing, mobile app testing, with dedicated skilled test engineers? So people that are participating here, it's very possible that a number of us are going to have free 1 month and 1 month's free subscription to Testify testing program, where they will assist us in testing our products. So if you're a business owner here, if you're a product lead, if you're a CTO and you're joining this conversation, yes, so that is something that that is waiting for you. So without wasting so much time, we're going to have our next, we'll be inviting Ibironke to come up, and she's going to give us some quick intro. But before she gives the intro, it's very important that I provide us a quick background about who Ibironke is. Personally, I prefer calling her Princess, so I don't know if she will permit me to call her that today. So in brief, Ibironke has over 5 years of diverse quality assurance and testing experience, and she has also raised more than 1,000 individuals from zero knowledge in technology to becoming professionals. Okay. They're not just professionals, but they're professional test engineers through our Testify Limited program, a quality assurance as a service company she founded years ago. Her skill and experience gathered in various testing tools and frameworks for API, databases, microservices, web UI, web user interfaces, and mobile testing makes her an outstanding engineer. So I want you to join me in welcoming to this event this evening, Ibironke Yekini, aka Princess.
Why do you have to add AK? All right, I think that's right. Thank you so much for having me. Okay, so like Isaac rightly said, thank you so much everyone for joining. I just want to quickly do an introduction to our software testing before we even start talking about the importance. And like I said, I'm not like the first speaker anyways. So you need to know what software testing is all about. Then you can know why it is even very, very much important. If you have any question, please feel free to drop them in the chat section, and I would attend to them as well. All right, so I don't want to start giving you definition of software testing is A for apple and B for ball, because I feel to a great extent we all know that when it comes to software testing, it simply means that you are testing an application. But I define particularly software testing to be a process that ensures a product work according to the end user's requirements. And I'll give a very simple analogy because I've sort of spoken to some founders before, product-led, business founders before, and they were like, this is the first time they're hearing like software testing as a career. Like they just think that, just developer just check it, and that's it. So to make it more granular, when you develop a product, right? Probably you have this fantastic idea, you have this problem you want to solve. PMs, they have put in the strategy, the plan, everything that is going to be developed. The designer has designed the product, the developer has written all the code and all the 1 million lines of code. And the next thing you want to do is to send it to the market. I would say gladly that one of the reasons why your product will not fly is because it is not tested. And my very favorite quote is that if it is not tested, it cannot be trusted. If you don't test your application, you wouldn't know if it meets the user requirements. You will not know if it's going to satisfy more than one person. You will not even know if it's going to fly. There are different phases to testing, unless, like Isaac mentioned in the introduction of this session, he said, we mostly bring testers at the end of the development, probably when we want to go live, and then the developer press the release button. We're not like, there is a bug, let us move and fix it. And then you go on to that you should continue. You think it's something you're going to fix in 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, and then realize that 6 months down the line, you're still there. You have still not launched your product. You keep continuing that circle over and over again. And whether you like it or not, it will affect your sales, it will affect everything, it will affect the fulfillment of the product and the solution you're trying to solve. It will delay the market. And of course, PMs, PMs want to go live like ASAP. Please don't disturb me. Press the live button. It's better late than messed up. So yeah, when it comes to the software development lifecycle, the old development lifecycle, we have like a lot of people breaking into 5, 6, 7, 8 phases, but majorly are breaking into 5 phases. The stage at which you gather the analysis, what do you want to do, how you want to do it, what kind of solution are you providing, and all of those, breakdown. Then the next phase is to design. The next phase is to implement. The next phase is testing, and then evolution, which can be like maintenance, deployment, or whatever it is. I know that if you look at it from a very big picture and compare it to what you actually do in your company today, the testing part is, that shocker you just do before you guys go live. And that is where we all miss it, right? Most of the time, that is where product managers or product owners or people that manage product generally, that is where they miss it, because they look at the action part instead of the entire process of testing. Well, it's good to let you know that when it comes to testing itself, there is also something we call software testing lifecycle. So out of that branch of testing, there is also a community called software testing lifecycle. And we also do requirement analysis. We participate in your requirement analysis, and we also use that time, to also analyze everything we need to do, understand the project, understand why this is working this way and why this feature is being implemented. We also do something called test planning, right? Who we test, what will be tested, how it will be tested, things to be tested and stuff. We do test case documentation, which I think a lot of you know. I've seen some test case documentation online that, again, I think I'm hearing for PMs today, so pardon me. I've seen some PMs say, I know how to write, and then I see their test case and I'm like, okay, who told this person this is a test case? Do you know the difference between a test scenario and a test case? Do you know the difference? Like, we even say this is a viable test case. Yeah, we do a test case documentation, and this is just one documentation out of many other documentation that is required to be done. Agile doesn't encourage us to do so much. So, like, Agile prefers a working system than documentation. However, some documentation cannot be avoided. So yes, we do documentation at that phase. We set up the environment to test. I've heard it from developer before. It's working on my system. But hello, it's not working on the test environment. You set up the test environment to use. If you're going to be using different mobile applications, if you're going to be using different, aside from the staging or test environment URL that we all know, of course, there are some things you have to set up to test your application as well. And of course, the execution, which I think is what everybody calls testing, just that execution part. And then we ignore every other thing. And then after the execution, we also do the test closure. So in case I have not finished testing my product and PM says we want to go live, hello ma, please sign what we call the policy metrics. You sign it and then we go live. So if the product fails, it's up to you. So yeah, we have the test closure. And of course, in your test closure, there are things we call the post-deployment check. You don't just close it and say, bye, I'm done. As tester, we also do what we call post-deployment check, right? We make sure that the product is tested and also satisfied just the way we expect it to work, or the same way we have seen it work in the staging environment, the same way it's working on the production environment. And of course, the maintenance. You don't just say bye-bye because people have started downloading the application. You need to monitor. Before the customer even complain that they can't log in, you should be the first person to see it. So all of that is covered under test closure. However, I'm going to bring it down again to test execution, which most of the time we call it testing. But I hope with these few points, you have seen that there is a lot that has to do with testing, not just the execution parts that you call testing. I check it and it's fine. All right, so under the same test execution, aside from every other activities that you will see me show you in the next slide, there is also another life cycle that goes on in this execution. And it's called the bug life cycle. I know you will say, if there is a bug, oh yeah, create a ticket and log it now. Because I believe everybody here is sort of familiar to the environment. So create a bug ticket now. And let developer fix it, and move. That ticket that we created, that bug ticket that we created, yes, it goes through a process. It's called bug lifecycle. We open a ticket, we assign it, we will fix it. It's been fixed, we retest it. If it is fine, we close it. If it is not fine, we reopen it again, and it goes through that cycle over and over again. And that is why you see a ticket is still there in 3-4 circles. Now, I hope you can see that even in your test execution, there is another life cycle that goes in, not just check and balance. Okay, before I move into that, during your requirement gathering, which is why we say when you are testing your application or when you are developing an application, please, if it's possible, don't just try to bring in PM and developer and they say, oh yeah, I want to develop a project. Try to bring in everybody, especially the QA person, right? What we do during the requirement gathering is we tend to understand what you're trying to do. We tend to reason with you. We tend to let you know what is viable and what is not viable based on our own experiences, right? We also tend to understand the project, not just to hear the project and then run to test. The processes you are going into, I have the privilege to work with some of the best product managers ever. And yes, they bring me in from the testing, from the requirement gathering processes. And we have seen over and over again that there are just some thought process that you would end up wanting to implement at the end when it should be the first thing to implement. Not because they are not good at what they are doing, but more else are better than one. The next thing is in the designing phase, right? Ignore the sample text today. In the designing phases, right? I test UI UX design. Yeah, yes, I do that. I do that a lot of time. We don't just test when the code has already been written. We test the design phases. You make sure that the thought process of the design makes sense. Is it usable? Is it accessible by those that do not even have hands to type? You know, you participate in the usability testing, making sure that the thought process is nice. Some designs just make sense, you know. Give errors. I create tickets for designs, actually, in case you have not seen that. I can help you create one. So we create tickets, bulk tickets for designs, for them to fix issues, thought process, majorly I think thought process, and then of course, because you already have the color, the font, and all of those, sometimes it just might not be balanced. So we tend to review the design as well. The next thing is the implementation phase. At this phase, even a tester has a lot to implement. They have their test cases to start writing. They have their, you know, this is the point when they even choose the things they need to do, right? The tools they need to use, the kind of, is it going to be manual? Is it going to be automation? What are we automating? What are we not automating? When this feature is done, can we automate it? You know, a lot of goes on even in the testing environments. And of course, you know, talking from the perspective of a tester, I also work with developers to help their thought process. I will always work with thought process because sometimes I just listen to my developer rant about, I don't even get this thing. Like, even when they are talking to me, we sort of rub minds together and then they understand what they need to do better. So yes, we should be part of, you know, and then you see that when I want to automate an application as an automation tester, you just realize that I cannot even see the ID to use to test this feature because the developer has tested out of quality mindset. So yes, as a tester, we are part of this process as well. As a tester, I'm using myself as an example. During the execution phase that you see me show you initially in the lifecycle, I do documentation, functional manual test, non-functional testing, if applicable. Work lifecycle is being carried out. You want me to do automation testing, in most cases, especially if it's API web application. Yeah, you then complete your alpha test closure. I have to do regression and user acceptance testing. I have to do post deployment and maintenance. So when you say I do testing, these are all the things I do and more. Okay. So yes, this is what everybody expects a tester to be able to do. You want me to do documentation. You want to be very, very detailed, understandable, and very effective. You want me to carry out thorough tests. In fact, no bug, in fact, no scenario or no case must slip me by. You want me to carry out performance, security, and every other kind of testing that is applicable to that product. You want me to make sure that no bugs slip my eyeball. You also want me to do automation, bring in the Java, bring in the Python, mix it with Selenium, report it, and boom. You want to be able to click on one button and everything runs. You also want me to close the ticket, tell you how many tickets, scenarios I wrote, how many passed, how many failed, how many was not tested. You want me to do regression of the application. You want me to carry out user acceptance testing, which in which case is not meant to be a tester's work. But anyways, you want me to do a user acceptance test. And of course, you want me to do a post-deployment test on your product when it is live and also maintain it to make sure that nothing passes me by. Okay, so these are all is expected of a tester. At this point, I would pause because I will not be the person or the only person to tell you about the importance of testing. So yes, that is all from me. Over to you, Isaac.
Thank you so much, Ibironke, aka Princess. So, so we have three main speakers here today. We have Oluwatobi Otokiti. She's the Senior Growth Product Manager at Flutterwave and also the founder of ProductDive. And also we have Temitokpe Omolere from InterSwitch. She's the head of quality assurance engineering at InterSwitch. I think today almost every, I don't think rarely can you see any fintech in Nigeria today that is not using one InterSwitch product or the other, right? So this is the person that is leading those teams that are behind the high quality of such products that the company has been releasing over the years. And also our third speaker here today is Derek Venable. Yeah, Derek Venable all the way back. Yeah, so Derek Venable is the head of products at Atemvo. So when it's time, we're going to learn more about what they are up to. So this at this point in time, I would quickly want to introduce to us Oluwatobi Otokiti. Oluwatobi is she's been a long time friend, yes, and I know once in a while I do disturb I do disturb her. So so Oluwatobi Otokiti is a 2022 award winner of the US. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead, please.
Okay, great. So Oluwatobi Otokiti is a 2022 award winner of the US Tech Women Initiative, sponsored by the US Department of State's Bureau of Educational and Cultural Affairs. She is recognized as one of the top 10 female techpreneurs, revolutionizing Africa's tech space with her over 7 years work experience working in 3 unicorn companies, Flutterwave, Andela, and InterSwitch. Wow, that's interesting. So Toby has a track record of delivering innovative technology products for Africa. Innovative technology for Africa and emerging markets. Her broad range of product management experience span across multiple industries in the financial service, that's Flutterwave and InterSwitch, and edutech industry, Andela, and has positioned her as a strong product leader. Toby has an entrepreneurial spirit, which she also exercises through the largest product management community in Africa that she founded, and that's ProductDive. So ProductDive is a product management community that has helped over 6,000 career professionals build a rewarding career. She's a certified product manager and also with a certificate in fintech from the Harvard Business School online. She holds a bachelor and a master's degree in computer science. So I'll be welcoming Toby this evening as she's going to talk to us about the role of product testing in product growth. Thank you. Oliver, Toby, over to you.
Good evening, everyone. Can everyone hear me?
Loud and clear, we can hear you.
All right. Wow, it's amazing and it's a pleasure to be here this evening or afternoon, morning, depending on the time zone that you are in. I'm excited to share with you all my experience, building products, scaling products, which is like my most recent experience, okay, and why I believe, the quality of your product can directly impact, the success of your products in the market. All right. I want this to be interactive, so I am not going to be putting the presentation together, meaning I'm not going to be presenting my screen. So please feel free to stop me at any point in time because I want to share real life stories with us, stories that have cost us money, revenue in an organization, and why, if you are thinking of what you should prioritize in a product management team, it's important that you prioritize, the quality of your product, getting the best software testers to work on your product, everybody having that mindset of excellence, of quality. So quality being your watchword. So as a senior growth product manager, who is growth product manager and also product lead for our consumer facing products, I won't speak more to the growth product management because it's a little bit different from the traditional product management that we hear of today. Okay, so when we say growth product management, growth product managers look at products from the business perspective. Okay, from the perspective of the business, especially if your business is a product-led business. Okay, so an example of product-led businesses today. Who wants to quickly share with me? You can just type that in the chat section. Examples of product-led businesses. Remember that I said I want this to be interactive. Just type, product-led businesses. There's no wrong answer, so please do not be scared. Examples of product-led businesses. Oh yeah. Amazing, yes. Are you joking? Yes.
Oh, I think she mistakenly clicked the end button for herself. Okay, so in the meantime, let's keep dropping. Okay, I think it's
sorry,
back.
I'm back. Sorry. Yes, I saw you guys. It's also the only, yes, definitely product-led company. You have PiggyVest. You have there are so many product-led organizations today. All right. So the major goal, exactly, bundle for Paystack and the likes. Right. So for growth product managers, our focus is the growth of the business. All right. So for KPIs of growth product managers would look like how many users were we able to acquire with this product. Okay. What revenue, how much can we achieve, what amount of money or revenue, you know, can we achieve when we launch this product? Retention of the users, returning users. So if a user comes to your product today, you know, can they return the second time to use your product? Okay, so those are like kind of KPIs that growth product managers have today. And for you to achieve like those KPIs, it means that you need to optimize your product for growth. True or false? It means that if you want to acquire, for example, 10 million users that you've set in that financial year, and you said by the end of December or January, we should have acquired 10 million users, it means that the quality of your product is key, is a key component to helping you achieve that KPI. Okay, so let me quickly share with us an example. There was a time we launched like a student ambassador program. How many of us can remember about a student ambassador program? How many of us remember? All right, and then, you know, first thing was that we working with like the software team, because we also have like a strong software team. We noticed based on, you know, when we're out, we're tracking the data, we noticed that, so the Bata Student Software Program is like a referral program. Okay, so students refer students and then they earn Bata points. Now these Bata points are equivalent to dollars, all right, that they can cash out like the dollars, all right, and they can spend the dollars in whatever way it is that they want. Okay, so but we then noticed that some people were signing up on the Bata app with dummy email addresses. Yeah, so we had to rework, and I'll say, okay, the only way you earn a referral point is when you are a verified user. All right, so a verified user now means that you input your email address at the point of sign up, you receive like an OTP, and then, you know, you are granted access into the app. You know, so imagine if we were not tracking. Imagine, okay, Joseph said he has experienced such before. Yeah, you know, it's real life. Imagine if we were not working hand in hand with like our software team to test, to track the data, because again, as a growth product manager, my focus is on the numbers. It's of no use if I'm acquiring dummy users who eventually, you know, would not transact with the app. Are we together, everybody? Are we together? All right, amazing. And then, you know, that's like an experience. All right, great. Thank you, Tosin. You know, so that's like one of my experiences. I would even say that another one would be, imagine if, so this same Bata Student Ambassador program, okay, you had said that, so one Bata point is equals to $1, and there was a mistake, a functional mistake in the app where you had now defined maybe one Bata point equals $2. So if somebody referred 50 people, it means that the person has 50 Bata points, and then the money that they earn is $100. Are we together, everybody? But meanwhile, that was a mistake. That was a functional mistake, right? Now, what do you think that does to the business? I'm listening. That's a loss to the business, all right? Because as a growth product manager, again, I'm thinking revenue. My mind is not just on the quality of the product, but my mindset is also, you know, if we launch this product, this is the potential amount of revenue that we can earn from this product. Okay, if we launch this initiative, so growth product managers are constantly thinking of like initiatives. What marketing initiatives can we deploy? You know, how can we optimize the sign up process? Should we make it shorter? You know, should we make the onboarding a lot smoother? Should we add like a friction to it? You know, and like, so if all those things are not taken into consideration, all right, the example that I gave of, you know, the $100 payout instead of $50 payout, that is a loss to the business. All right, so all of these things that I've said is to help us see how testing your product is important if you're a growth product manager, because your goal, once again, is to scale the business. Without your product, the business fails. All right, so without the core of product-led organizations are the product. So without the PiggyVest app today, the product fails. Without the Bata app and, you know, the Flutter for Business product that we launch today to the users, all right, the business would fail. So for product-led businesses, please and please, make sure quality is a key component, all right, of your solutions. Like, make sure that before you launch into the market, and I know that anyways, if Ronke is on the call, if you need like software testers, I'm sure that she's like a very good plug, well recommended to get like good software testers, so that your business doesn't experience loss. Your customers do not begin to complain. I want to believe, there are customers who, when they face like experiences, maybe bad experiences on their app, the next thing they do is to go on social media. And then what does that do to your business? That impacts the brand equity of your business, right? The goal for us in a business, or as growth product managers, or the business, is to make sure that people love our brands, right? People are excited about our brands. People want to be familiar with our brands. People want to feel like, oh yes, I'm part of this brand. All right. So when customers begin to complain about your product, and so even using fintech, we all know fintech is extremely, I don't know how to even explain things. Like, one just has to be very careful. Why? Because you're moving money, and this is people's hard work, their money. Okay, so people can be stuck. You could be stuck somewhere. You're trying to transfer money to somebody, and then the money doesn't, or maybe you're trying to even pay somebody. Exactly, it's a volatile industry. You're trying to pay somebody. You're at the supermarket. You shop. You've been there for 30 minutes, 1 hour. Oh yeah, pay. And then they're waiting for you. That maybe there's a downtime, the POS, the card, or the transfer fails, and you become so embarrassed, So, and then maybe you now send a message on social media or to the customer care support person, and then there's that delay or there's that drag and all of that. So to avoid like all those kind of embarrassments, all right, as product managers, please let's make sure that quality product is at the forefront of whatever it is that we are doing, and let's invest in our effort, our time, and money. So that would be all from me. If we have any questions, please feel free to ask me questions now.
Okay.
Questions?
Any question from anyone? If you have any question, feel free to unmute and ask question. We'll be waiting to have your question.
Okay, I think you can try to
Okay, Joseph, please unmute.
Yeah, unmute yourself now.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Nice to meet you, Oluwatobi. I've been following, and I hope to see you one day and maybe meet one day. So I have a question, and my question is, so I used to have that issue with my with my team when it comes to product growth, and we talk about technical product management too. When you are bootstrapping a startup and you are in the middle of both growth, you're in the middle of both technical and technical management and every other thing like that.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'm always like, okay, which one am I? But this is my question. Yeah. When you're creating a product for like the set of people that they are not would I say, okay, they are not included into the digital economy, like it's more like say you are doing stuff like the B2C sales stuff, or you are trying to get partnerships that can help you reach those people. My question is, how do you enter those kind of markets? Now, we already have our go-to-market strategy, but the market will shock you. You see different kind of source in the market, and you'll be like, okay, this is what I planned. This is everything we've tested, we've seen. Okay, but when you take that same model to another place, you say, okay, this market is already there's another thing going up. And sometimes they tell you learn with the market trend and everything like that. But when you are working with, say, the normal market paper sellers, the normal academy, you're trying to bring them into this digital economy. Like, do you think it's do you think the right strategy to go there with a lot of branding, a lot of noise, and all those normal startup stuff. You understand what I'm saying? But when we do those, I found that we just waste money, and money for marketing has gone like that, and you are not seeing traction. You expect them, oh, sign-ups coming on the platform, people using your product and everything, but they just use it once. After the next time, you are the one keep on calling and telling your team members to follow up and so like that. So sometimes I ask that question: is it that those people don't? I don't even know how to say it again. Like, I don't know if you grab what I'm trying to like explain also.
Yeah, I totally get it. So two things that I hear you say. The first is creating a product market fit product, okay? And the second thing is, how do you go about launching your product? So, people who are maybe like semi-illiterate or, who are not technically savvy, right? Those are like your two questions. So product market fit is, now I'm trying not to say too much about product market fit because of time, but product market fit is you first of all understanding the needs of like your market. The only way you can understand the needs of your market is if you have conversations with your users. That's like the validated way, okay? Because there's just something that I say, validate or die, all right? Beyond just innovate or die. I'm sure a lot of us will hear innovate or die, but it's not enough for you to innovate. It's also important that you validate. There's that validation exercise that you carry out, all right? And how to understand the needs of the market again is also understanding like their lifestyle. Okay, I've been in a situation before, like I worked in an organization where we built an app for truck drivers in the north, okay? And then we realized that the adoption of the product in the north was extremely low. And then what did the organization try to do? They tried to create like a technical adoption team. Are you following? And then even that itself did not work. Why? Because truck drivers in the north, meaning, you're trying to move goods from like one location to another, are not technical savvy. So we now said, okay, we've actually gone through like the wrongest route, because how many of these truck drivers today even have like correct phones, and Android? For a lot of these people use like feature phones. So why aren't we thinking of USSD? Why aren't we thinking of like the simplest way? Okay, why is our immediate thoughts always app, a web app? Because now it means that there is a mismatch between the needs of the user and our solution. And once there is a mismatch, it means that the product is not a fit for the market. Are we following? So what we now had to do was now create like a USSD solution, and then we now had to print out like the USSD numbers and then stick to the steering wheels and dashboards of the truck drivers. And why did you think that we did that? Joseph, why do you think we did that? Or why do you think we went to that route? Exactly, for stickiness. Okay, because our goal is to get truck drivers to use our solution, which doesn't necessarily mean that truck drivers need to use our mobile application. So USSD. So what we now did was, when they dial a particular USSD, so for example, if I want to pick up goods from a particular location, I dial a USSD, I get a prompt, and once I respond to that prompt, it already means that I've arrived the location. Once I get to the destination, I dial like another USSD. It means that, oh, I've gotten to the destination. Extremely simple. I'm not having to navigate the app. All right. So please forget all the noise making online and social media. And I think I've also had like the privilege to see like numbers of organizations. And trust me, noise on social media does not equate acquisition of users. Do not be deceived. When I see the numbers, I'll just be screaming internally. I'm like, oh my God, like, all this noise is not equating to your numbers moving. Okay, so make sure you do that due diligence of understanding the product that actually fits the market. All right, and then when you also have conversation with you, so if you see what I said now, the stickiness, that also is marketing. True or false? Did we have to do jingles? We didn't have to do jingles. We didn't have to do something on radio station. You didn't have to pay for Facebook ads or Google ads. No. I wish to get everybody. So for the main fact, so many people do that, they are wasting money. And now we can already begin to see a lot of startups now. They are already shutting down and closing down because they spent all the money finish. All right, Joseph. All right, so Joseph, does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think
Hi, Joseph.
yeah, you can. Yeah.
Okay, come on, mute yourself. All right. Okay. All right.
Okay, so a quick question came. I know we have really exhausted our
Okay.
time for you here, but a quick question came, says that as a growth product manager, is your focus only on the revenue the product generates, or you also focus on the functionality and performance of the product? Because where the person currently work, where I work, not all the products are built to generate revenue, or are there other types of product managers?
Yeah, so let me say that depends on the KPIs of your business, okay? And then where your business is at. So businesses are like different phases, okay? So see this way, if I want to grow number of users, for example, revenue may not be priority to me because I'm probably thinking, what is the least barrier to entry? And that's why you will see like an OPay, for example, say 0 fee, because they know that the lifetime value of that user over time, they can earn revenue from that user over time, but acquiring that user is their first goal. And what is the easiest way for them to acquire that user is by giving them 0 fee. Are we together?
Yeah.
So sometimes it depends on your business KPI. Your business KPI may not be revenue driven. Again, some businesses will say, you know what, we want to build a community. All right. So if I'm building a community feature doesn't necessarily equate to like revenue. But at that point in time, I want to have like a close community for my product users so that they feel heard. All right. So that we are sure that, we are speaking with our community and then we are getting feedback from this community members to build our product. Okay, so sometimes your the KPI may not be revenue. It could be anything apart from revenue. It could be acquisition, like I said. It could be activation. It could be retention. All right, it could be revenue. It could be yeah. So it doesn't have to be revenue. All right. And again, see this way, growth. Yes, and there are different types of product managers. Growth product managers are focused on the business, growth of the business. And there are also internal product managers, because while I was at Andela, I was an internal product manager and then, product manager for like an edtech platform. But internal product managers are products that you build internally, okay, for your colleagues, all right? So product that helps like efficiency, that helps basically efficiency, all right? So yes, there are different types of product managers. There are technical product managers as well, who in a way should have a little bit technical know-how, maybe like SQL querying and writing code, and API product managers. 90% of the time are technical product managers. All right. Does that explain, Adetomiwa?
I believe it does. I did some spot on for operational.
All right.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, someone is asking if they can have the recording of this event.
Yes, they can.
Yeah, after the session, if in as much as you are registered to join the session, yeah, so you get an email afterwards with the link to rewatch the session again. Okay, so Toby, thank you so very much. I wouldn't forget.
Welcome.
To mention that Toby is the founder of ProductDive, right? And I think I've always been eyeing that school like ProductDive. I've worked with a number of people that graduated and they've been very awesome. Very, very awesome. I've worked with a number, I've mentored a couple as well after they finished from there. And trust me, they've been very awesome. And ProductDive is doing a very, very great job. Well done. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you,
so, yeah. So our next speaker is Derek Venable. But Derek is also an old friend of mine. Interesting enough, right? So Derek is an old friend of mine, and outside of that, is the excuse me, I'm sorry, is the lead or is the head of products, right, for a travel tech startup. So before I go too far ahead, I would quickly read out Derek's profile. So Derek started out as a software developer while in medical school. So this is Dr. Derek, if I'm allowed to say that. And he transitioned to product. So he started as a software developer while he's still in a medical school before he finally transitioned to product management. So he has worked across startups and companies in Africa and has launched products across Africa, Europe, and Asia. He is currently the head of product at Atemvo, a tourism and hospitality-focused company. He also volunteered as a co-organizer at Product Manager Africa, a product management community, and he actively participates in other notable product management communities in Africa. So I think one major thing I know Derek for is his versatility. If you spend time talking with this guy, he will tell you how to move from software engineering, as a software engineer, what's expected, quality assurance, this is how it's supposed to be, like he has deep knowledge of all those things. Then product management angle, he also gives you some nice and insightful perspective about it. So this evening is here and is going to be sharing with us the importance of quality assurance, QA testing, and product management. Welcome to the session, Derek.
Thanks, Isaac. Thanks for having me, everyone. Good day, everyone. I just switched on my camera. So sorry, I'm actually not feeling so fine. I'm actually on drugs. I didn't know I was going to get sick today. But I think I have the voice to be able to have this session. It's really a honor being able to speak here with the head of Q engineering, as well as Toby. Toby is someone that I've also looked up to since I joined the industry, even when I was a software engineer as well. So awesome. I'm going to get started by, let me just quickly share my screen. I think I have a couple of very little slides to walk through. Well, I'll also throw a part of the line of focusing on explaining experiences. Why? Because I think that that's actually what if you've worked in products in tech startups, you understand that you have a lot of experiences with software testing, like, right, a lot of experiences with launching products in the market and the effects of not properly testing your products. Okay, great. So please permit me, I have my other screen up here, so I'll be from time to time looking up there as well as down here. Okay, great. So just to get started, I always love this particular quote from Steve Jobs. You've got to start with customer experience and work back towards technology, not the other way around, right? So as a product manager, I always understand that, and I've always tried to follow this thoroughly. The fact that it's never really about the tech alone, it's always first about the customer experience and exactly how does it begin and where does it end, right? So personally, I started out as a software engineer while I was in medical school, and please, I'm not a doctor, right? So I actually studied human anatomy, which was pre-med. I launched my first product in my second year, and then what was the product? I knew then I was just starting out writing code, and I noticed that a lot of people were having problems. I felt people had a big problem with always carrying papers around, trying to read for exams. So I built a simple platform to allow them to, get access to all these past questions for their exams online. And we launched the product in like a month. We being, meaning myself and a friend of mine, built everything. And as we launched the product, the site went down twice because we had over 11,000 hits on the platform in less than a week, right? That was my first experience with launching a shitty product in the market, right? That also was one of the things that also geared me towards transitioning to product management, because I found out that I didn't just like writing code then, though it was very little code compared to what people do now. I found I actually love thinking around how to build the right products the right way. I've actually had hands-on experience with like product launch and doing things in the market since 2016, but I actually became a product manager in 2018. And currently I'm just enjoying my life, trying to, teach people, help people grow, learn new things, contribute more, and look for more money because the country is really tough, right? So let's just get straight to it. So for me, right, two major clarifications about software testing that I want to mention here today. The first one definitely for me is when exactly do you start software testing? And I think our host did mention that we don't start software testing when you're done with software development, right? It always starts actually at the beginning, because that's the entire essence of continuous testing as an agile practitioner. So when you hear about being agile and thinking agile, you understand that from the very get-go, from your start, you always have to focus a lot more on your delivery and a lot more on how will the product be when you start itself. The second thing itself that I think we most likely sometimes forget is that the product itself is a test, right? So yes, you want to test the product, but the product itself is a test. This is because your product is not final. You have to build something and put in the market and see how the market responds, right? I have seen practical cases where companies launch the product because they wanted to see if the market is even ready for that product or not. So they didn't put so much money there. Their aim of launching the product was to kill the product because they wanted to understand how is the market going to respond to that product line and what can they build based on that feedback. So the product itself was a complete test. It was them trying to like test the market itself, right? So when you get to the point where you understand that your product itself is a test, right, you start making the right decisions about gathering data and about how well you get to test your market itself too. So I think these are two clear things that once you understand, then the idea of software testing starts becoming deeply rooted into our own lives itself. Now, I also wanted to just quickly touch on types of testing. I'm coming from the product management point of view. So I have some little experience with quality assurance, but trust me, I haven't taken any practical, thorough courses on that as well. So it's not my area. I'm pretty sure head of key engineering at Industry should do a very great job there. But as a PM, it's my job to understand basically some basic things about software and software testing, right? And the reason and why this was important for me also was most of us here can relate that in a lot of companies or in companies we might work in, you're expected to be the product manager, the project manager, the scrum master, the product owner, the software tester, and probably even the marketer. It happens in a lot of companies, mostly in Nigeria. I've seen it happen a lot, right? And sometimes as a product manager, you don't have a QA person on your team. So you're also told to, to test the product yourself. You're also expected to understand how the developer should technically create automation tests and things like that, and ensure that it works well, because you're the one being held responsible for the quality of your product, right? So knowing a bit about these things is really important because it's definitely going to help you get to handle from communications to how exactly this is being done. Now, the ones at the top, which are unit testing, integration, and functional testing, I always see them as more technically related, right? So unit testing is basically where people test individual units of the code itself, right? I think there are a lot of ways to automate this. I'm pretty sure our hosts also talk about how Testify as a company, as a product, will be able to like help you in your companies automate this. We also have integration testing. So these two areas are really technical. I don't have so much insight about them. But let's start from functional testing, which is the one that it's really important as a PM, and going down to UAT test, right? Now, functional test is where you get to see if your application works, with your operating device or system and device itself, right? Example, you want to roll out the product. You don't even know if your browser, if the app itself is able to actually, if some things are functioning right when you launch them on iOS or Android. I mean, you really can't roll out the product. There are a lot of tools out there that help you to, see how your website or how your web app looks across different devices, from 6.4-inch phones to even 7.8-inch phones, right? This is really important because you don't want to sort of like bypass a segment of your market just because you did not test for their own phone variations. The next one is accessibility testing. Now, the first time I had experience with this was working on a product for a foreign company, I think in UK. And this particular testing was, can people with disabilities use your products? So I remember then the experience I had was that we just we said, okay, we want to like go into testing, and we're working with some partners in the fintech space. And then the head of integrations from their own side sent an email and says, hey guys, we took a look at your platform and at the thing you built, and it's awesome, but please answer a couple of questions for us. And the first question was, how would somebody who does not have, how would somebody who has no use of hands be able to use the product? Right. And then the next one was, how would somebody who is blind use the product? Like basically we had built a product that was beautiful, but we did not consider that there are actually people who could not access the product because of accessibility. They have disabilities, right? And in a lot of, in a couple of places, right? I know Nigeria probably doesn't implement it right now, but in a couple of countries, you get sued for that. You can actually make money off your back just by suing you because you did not consider them. You sort of like marginalize them. So this is really important, right? And they're actually very basic things to do, not so difficult sometimes, but you have to account for it, right? Another one is performance testing. This is really important for a lot of technical companies that build a lot of APIs. How many requests can you handle per second? So think about Flutterway, for instance. I'm pretty sure they have done shit ton of testings around, performance testing, which is how much requests can their systems handle every single second. I'm pretty sure they process probably thousands, right? Thousands of requests every second. Because if you don't test this, then you find out that every single time the API is crashing and your customers are saying that your product is not good, it's not good. It's not as if it's bad, but you don't actually account for this. So maybe you launch, you felt you have only 10 users or 20 customers, and then you get about 500, right? Just in a 3-second. And sometimes if you don't do it the right way, if you don't build the codes the right way as a PM, if you don't understand these things as a PM, you're not spending so much money on infrastructure and on, spinning up new instances for your hosting and all that, and that's really not nice. And the last but not the least, which I think is something that every PM must do, is user acceptability testing. So this is basically testing the product's functionality. So a product was built for someone to be able to log in. Can they log in? Right? What are your criteria? Can you say that this product is something that someone can actually log in? Right? If they put in the wrong email, what happens? They put in the right email, what happens? They put in the right email, wrong password, what happens? It has to be functional, you see, right? And this is really, really, really an important part of testing that doesn't even involve any technical know-how. You just have to use the product like a customer, right? In cases of B2B companies, that's business to business, where you work with other companies, you definitely want to be able to, you want to be able to ensure that the clients who you're building the products for can actually test and sign off on the product, right? So can they use it? Can you give them at least 2 weeks to actually test every single thing? Can you send them test cases? Okay, this is how it's meant to work. So test it for me and tell me if it's working that same way. If not, you launch a product, and after like 3 months after that, they'll come and tell you it's not working. And by then, your developers are focused on something else. I have to now distract them again, right? Now, okay, so let's talk a bit about how some organizations handle quality assurance. So in my experience, I've noticed that there are 3 different ways. Some of them have separate QA departments, right, where the dev team works on the products, and then when they are done, they send to the QA department, they test everything, and then when they are done, they send feedback. This can be very, very stressful because you always have to have this very long chain of communications, too many protocols. It happens mostly in very robust organizations too. I think it's not a very good agile method, but people have their own business case and why it's important, and it works for many of them as well too. There's also the case of having a dedicated QA engineer on your team. So having someone on your development team who ensures that the product actually meets all requirements. And this is also where you bring them in from the point of writing your tickets, writing your stories, your tasks, right? What exactly are people going to build? And this engineer gets to ensure that, okay, the test criteria are written from day one, so that people who are writing the code know exactly what the code or what that particular feature will be tested against. And the third one, which is actually the one that I think I find very interesting and very awesome, is where your entire team is sort of like given the responsibility of handling QA, right? And this doesn't mean that they get to do exactly what the QA engineer does, but you're being a mindset in your engineers where everybody owns the products they build, right? So somebody writes a code, and as a product manager, I mean, some of you would agree with me. You tell your engineer to write a front-end code. Now, there's a Figma file, an XD file. There's a design for it, yeah? And you can see the design is looking fine. And this person built this particular page, and it doesn't look like a design, right? And he tells you he's done. or she tells you she's done, right? At that point, you're offended, you're pissed. Why? Because you're like, why can't you see what the design said? Why didn't you do it that exact way, right? When you build this mindset into your engineers that they have to be responsible for what they do, then they will take having that QA mindset very important. And it's really important because it saves you a lot of stress and headache, right? So whenever they write codes, they're always asking themselves, how does this particular thing flow? When your back engineers write codes, they're asking themselves, okay, how the performance, how this particular logic I use affects the performance, right? This is really important. Making sure that your engineering team has a mindset that QA is also something that they have to do themselves, right? Now, practically, I want to talk about how to navigate QA as a product manager. The first one I want to say is, see, bugs are normal. It's normal to have bugs. In short, there was this thing back then when I was writing code. If I write a piece of code and it's working, I am scared. I'm like, why is it working? If I write a piece of code and it's not working, I'm like, why is it not working? So you see that I want to ensure that, okay, something was not working and it's fixed, because you don't want to allow those invisible bugs creep up to you, right, when you launch to production. So bugs are normal. Understand that. This helps you to preempt fixing problems and actually preempt how to test for these problems, right? Second thing is that ownership should be clear. Should be very, very clear in your team who exactly handles QA, what exactly is everybody's role in this QA process. You should have processes written down and explain to everybody in your team, right? The next thing is wherever you can to automate. So it's not everything that you can test from manually. Some things that you have to automate with testing tools, and you have to do that. Now, if you're privy to work in organizations where you have an engineering manager or you have someone technical who is higher up, they can create these automation tools and actually get the engineers to actually use them. So engineers write things like unit tests and things like that to ensure that it's really easy, right? So where you can automate, please automate. And where you can't, then please ensure that you do thorough manual testings, right? The next thing is setting up code review processes. So after I'd worked in a company, a very thorough company where we had a very thorough code review process, every company I worked after then, I always installed it there. So the idea was if somebody writes, let's say if Isaac on the call writes a code, and I am also an engineer, I get to look at Isaac's code and actually see, okay, why did you write the code this way? How is his logic? How is the performance of the platform after his code was done? I have to actually review Isaac's code. Now, it's not like I'm trying to say why Isaac did a mistake, but I want to ensure that can somebody else get also use a third eye to look at what you have done? Because sometimes we think we did something this particular way, but we didn't. And someone else can actually point it out for us, right? Having very good code review processes in your team, between your engineers, right, your engineering team, really helps them avoid certain kind of mistakes and pitfalls, right? Quality should be owned by everyone is really important, like I also mentioned, right? So this is basically where you get to ensure that your team, right, knows that the quality of this product, right, is really important, that we all take it as the things that we actually do. And then the last one is creating a well-defined workflow. So what exactly is the workflow, right? You join the company and they just have two branches, dev and production. That's crazy, right? You have to have a very defined workflow. So once code is written on the laptop, on someone's system, where does it go to for testing? Once it's approved, where does it go to before it's launched? How is it even rolled out? How do you do versioning releases? Because you want to ensure that when somebody ships something out, right, it does not, what's the word? It does not go into production, right? And you can actually be able to actually roll back, right? Sometimes developers write a piece of code for a new feature, and you then have regressions, right? Where it affects something that was done and is working stably 2 months ago. You want to ensure that you can actually account for all these things, right? So it's really important to have a well-defined workflow as a product manager, because this will actually help your team avoid some of these pitfalls. So thank you so much. I think that's that of my slide. I think I'll take questions now.
Isaac, where are you?
So much, Derek. I think I was muted. Yeah. Thank you so much, Derek, for the presentation. Somebody saying in the chat, they said it's not as simple as said to have a developer have a QA mindset, most especially in company where the product release timeline is unrealistic. So let me quickly throw this to you, Derek, as a question before any other person will come up to ask a question. I know very well, and you know as well, that the role of a product manager in any organization is to influence stakeholders, right? So how do you, as a product manager, help influence and help push this narrative of having a QA mindset in the engineering team? Yes, you might not have direct influence over the engineering team, but how can you somehow like influence them to have this QA mindset?
Okay, great. So it can get very tricky and very difficult if you're, let's say, junior. And I've seen a lot of people who are juniors or who are like still coming up asking these questions. They don't know how to, convince their stakeholder that this is the right workflow to use and this is not the right workflow to use. So I would say that one of the very first things that you should do is try and have data, right? You want to be able to explain to them what would happen if this is not done the right way. So example, I think there was a startup I joined, and when I joined, I first of all had to understand how things were currently working. I noticed that every single week there was at least minimum of like 5 bugs reported, right, from customers. Yeah. And when I created my process, I simply told the CEO, right, bros, look at, if you don't implement this particular workflow, right, you would still keep having these 5 bugs. But don't you want to get to a point where you only have probably just one? And this is actually the best workflow for you. And it was very simple, because if he says no, he knows that, okay, well, I mean, we'll still keep having the box. I can easily blame him and say, well, I told you what to do, right? But if he says yes, he's giving me a shot to try out what I have. Now, I had a lot of data to back what I was saying. So I was very confident in what I was saying. And we implemented it, and then there was actually an improve. Right now, that's really important. It's also good that when you join communities like ProductDive and a lot of other communities out there, right? You try to have joint sessions a lot, because when you hear most of the senior PMs talk, you find out that you don't really try to influence stakeholders by just thinking you can argue with them. It never works that way, right? They're very proud. You only do it better by using data to convince them of why the route you're giving to them is the best route and exactly how it should impact. And don't try and make changes drastically, just change everything all at once. Start gradually, mostly when you're still working on your confidence level as a PM.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Derek. That's very great and very spot on. Okay.
All right. So somebody asked a question earlier, which is I have a scenario. Okay, I don't think this is the first one. Okay, yeah, this is the first one. It says, that's Tommy says, yes, I've experienced scenario in situation where products are built and the customers are not ready for the product. But I'm not always happy in situation like this, because is that not a waste of resources? Because as a development team, the joy of building a product is to see, okay, I think she was just giving a comment, right? I think Tommy was the one that mentioned that it is not as simple as said to have a developer have a QA mindset, mostly, especially in company where the product release timeline is unrealistic. And I gave a response here saying that it is simple when you have a sound or you're a sound developer, because regardless of the timeline, quality is a mindset, right? It's going to take you a minute to say A plus B is equals to 3. Why not put in the quality and say A plus B is equals to C? So it's a mindset you have before you even implement the code or before you write any single line of code you write. It's not like an extra work. And the same thing applies to when you're writing your unit testing. Unit testing is not an extra work. For those companies that write a data-driven application, it's something they have to write. It's a standard, right? It's a code standard for them that they have to do before they start implementing. All right, so that's just my contribution to that. Thank you, Derek.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ibironke. Thank you, Derek. Is there any question from any other person? Just a couple of minutes. Okay, so someone is asking a question, Derek. He said, influencing stakeholders is a big problem. In the area of data presentation, what area of data do you need to influence stakeholders?
Okay, so it actually depends on what you want to influence, right? Let me give you a very good case scenario, like I just explained. So you want them to change their workflow. So I think in that startup when I joined, basically how the workflow was support people get reports from customers on a different tool about, oh, this is a problem I'm facing. The support personnel, the operation people have to come to Slack, come to a channel, and then tag, and then create, and then tell the developers, oh, we have this problem here, right? And then the developer or the PM now has to go to Slack and go to Jira and then create a ticket there, right? And it was very, very chaotic, right? And I see that because of these things, and sometimes, people are busy as it lapses in time, support was very, very complicated, right? And things are not being tracked better. So when I came in, I just simply said, well, why don't we make the flow very seamless? And using automations created in the Jira support help desk, created the main Jira accounts, link them together. Oh, support guys, create the tickets here. They get duplicated here as well. Somebody gets notified on Slack, and they can actually give you an ETA immediately, right? Now, if you do not understand, like if you've done this before personally, right, you know that this flow saves you time. So when you present to your stakeholders, you're basically presenting, this is the old flow. It's a presentation, right? You want to demo it to them, but this is the old flow. See how long it's taking us to get this thing done. This is the new suggested flow. Give me a sample of how it should look. And even them at that point would not say, oh, okay, no, we don't want to go with your own style. Sometimes too, I've noticed that there are times when CEOs and founders have what they call this gut feeling. So they know what you're saying is right, but they are still adamant to do what you want because they feel like, see, I've run this company for the last 5 years, just came on board. You want to just change, start cutting that. I think it's fine. I'm scared of going to something new, right? And in those cases, you have to try to work with other people who are probably ahead of you, but not under the CEO as well, because you want to get like this kind of support system and gradually, right, see if you can make small changes until you can actually make a very large change, right? So it's very tricky, but I believe that if you understand where I'm coming from, they understand exactly how to handle support.
Right. Yeah, I mean, nobody's gonna let you leave this hot seat today so easily. And I would just in like 1 second, if possible, how do you, as a PM, deal with stubborn lead engineer? This is from Michelle. How do you, as a PM? I don't know, guys. You guys are asking questions out of.
I think this one of the major challenges our product managers have, and I'll give the floor to Derek to handle this.
Yeah. So how you do it, stubborn lead engineers? The first thing I'll say, like I said, I love data. Get your data right. So where are they messing up? How can you be able to actually like point out where they're messing up? Now, I've noticed that when you tell someone, listen, you're not delivering well enough, and you can't defend what you're saying, you basically hurt their feelings. But when you can defend what you're saying and give them instances where, oh, you could have done this right, but you did this better, but you didn't do this right. This is where it led us to. This will also help. Sometimes I also include this in our retrospective. A retrospective is where you have to have that honest conversation with your team and say, what could we have improved? And then I always ensure that, see, you have to understand the politics of working in companies, right? So it's actually this is a very thorough of answering. I can't really explain it fully, right, without taking so much time. But I would say you need to understand the politics of working in company with your engineers. It's really important as a PM.
Yeah, I think Tokwe wants to quickly add something. Tokwe, you can unmute yourself.
Yes, I just wanted to chip in regarding the issue of, working with a seemingly difficult lead engineer. One of the things I've learned that works very well is, first of all, you need to approach it from a collaborative mindset. So even though this person is difficult, and we all know this person is difficult, there is something called, see, we're here to do work and I want to achieve what I want to achieve. So because I know what I want to achieve, I'm going to figure out what makes you tick. And I'm going to come at you from that angle. So we need to be, when you're open to collaborating, the truth is, while what Derek recommends is fine, and yes, it typically works, there are times when nobody wants to be told that you're a terrible person here, you don't know, it's making our life difficult, and look at the figures. It's the same way we struggle to have QAs log bugs because the developers feel like when you log a bug, then you're logging something against them and you're trying to make them look bad. But when you learn to collaborate with whoever you're working with, it improves and it drastically changes the dynamics in the team because then they know that you're an ally. So that's the first thing. Come at it from an allyship perspective. You're trying to be friends with this person. We're trying to achieve this end goal. And the glory is for all of us, it's not for one single person. So once they realize that, okay, we're in it together and we're together on that same page, it makes it easier to then begin to influence and shape their perspectives to improve their outcomes. There are people who are terrible developers in terms of even the quality of code they write, but because they've been able to build an allyship with them, basically, it improves drastically the outcomes you get. So other people tell you that, oh, this person is very hard to work with and you won't get results from them. But because you have built a good working relationship with them, despite their terrible behavior, when you call, they will answer. So that is another approach in dealing with a difficult person. In the workplace, you would meet several difficult people in different roles and teams. So the question is, how do you work around them? You need to learn how to work around them. And of course, when you understand what makes the person sick, it helps you know how to approach them. Some people, yes, they need to be called out in a meeting to adjust. Some other people literally just call them aside, have a conversation with them privately, and that makes a whole world of difference. So that was just what I was going to add, Deborah, okay?
Yeah. So I think I'd like to add just one more thing. I think
topic.
just one point, right? So I think it's very important as well. I think one major problem from conversations I've had with several engineers, I mean dozens of engineers, I realized that the experience many engineers had in the past with product managers is product managers present themselves as the boss in the team. And once engineers have that perception of you as a product manager, that you are showing off as the boss, you are commanding and you're telling them what to do. Trust me, you never have the best of them. No professional wants somebody to come and spell out what they have to do to them, right? So instead of you building a team, or instead of you leading a team or influencing a team where you are basically either micromanaging them or you are forcing them to do something, rather build a team that is empowered. Make them see a reason why they need to do what they have to do. Not out of you forcing them to do it. Come together to the planning table, plan together with them. Say, this is what we want to do. How best? Let them talk. Give them the opportunity to share their opinion. How best do you guys think we can do this? So if they suggest you can do it A, B, C, D. Now, look at the merit and the demerit of doing it A, B, C, D way. Bring your own on board as suggestions with them and say, hey, I think, what do you guys think if we do this X, Y, Z? Then at the end of the day, you guys might actually come up with MNOPQ solution that's a hybrid of your own solution and their own solution. And with that, you begin to buy their trust. They begin to understand that you truly care about them and you're not lording it over them. So that's just a little contribution I have.
You have set everybody on fire. The chat section is hot. Ellen wants to talk. I want to contribute. And at this phase, guys, okay, so I'll allow Ellen to quickly say something. Then we'll pause, this conversation. I think at the end of the day, we need to have a table talk between the PM, the developer, and the tester. One of these days, you're going to read. I think ProductDive.
I've told you this weeks ago, right? Okay.
Yeah, we need to reset a table for this. Okay, so let me allow Esther quickly unmute yourself and tell us. I mean, I feel like you are boiling right now. Let me have you so you can unmute yourself. Please try and unmute yourself again, Esther.
Hi, hello, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Hi, good evening, Esther.
You are muted, Esther. Esther, you're muted.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead, please.
All right, good evening, everyone, and thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
All right, so I'm talking on behalf of, from the perspective of a PM. So to the gentleman I just said something about most PM feeling like they are the boss of you. Like I said earlier, it's all about collaboration. So if you already have, I know because of people's bad behavior, there's a perspective that comes that you're coming at me and telling me what to do. Mind you, a product owner and a PM probably come to you with a portfolio or with a task of what we're supposed to do. I tell people that if you all come and sit together and collaborate and have understanding of how best to deal with each person, you and I don't have to feel like you are sidelining me, and I will not feel like you are feeling like you are the boss of me. So I'm sorry, I'm talking from my experience. So most engineers or developers come with the mindset that, or the QA guys have mindset that, oh, you are coming and you think you want to tell me what to do. So already it puts me as a PM in a defensive mode. So I come over to you, I'll raise my face up and like, you understand what I'm trying to say? So I just I really appreciate you feeling like maybe they're feeling like the boss of it. It's not, at times it's defensive mechanism that how will I face this person? So me to have to come and do bobo and pretend as if, but at the end of the day, it's not about the customer, it's not about that product to come in, and if it comes out well, all of us, we smile about it at the end of the day. So collaboration is so key. Like Tokwe said, I found a way. This is the way I talk. I ginger a lot. So I find a way to format and I don't say manipulate or lobby for to be in the good side of those guys, so that, and that's how we feel like, do I have to come and be lobbying for them to do the right thing? So as it's all about perspective, your own view from your perspective, you felt that these guys are feeling like they're because of me. Meanwhile, me, I'm feeling like, Alaye, do your work. Let me move on. You understand what I'm trying to say? So I hope you can all find it at the end of the day. I mean, this is really exciting. For me, trying to join PM newly, maybe sometimes next week, it's really fun to actually hear and gain perspective. So I'm so grateful for this platform. I'm so thankful for everyone. And I'm still here to learn more. But then I'm fighting for the PM. Thank you. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. And then, guys, I will come back to the chat section later. And okay, so what I would just add to it, to summarize it, I think everybody's sort of saying the same thing, but from a different perspective, right? I would not neglect what Isaac said, and I would not neglect what Esther or Temitope or Derek has said. The truth is that we all want to collaborate. The ultimate goal is that we want to chip out these products. This product has to go live and bring money. That's the goal, right? And like everyone mentioned, the way we meet with them is what matters. The collaboration, the communication, the way we interact. Esther, you might not be that PMs, but I can tell you that I've met with some PMs that they do not understand the difference between managing a product and managing the engineers. They manage, like, the sort of manage the engineer like the product. And in a way, they manage them really terribly. I have at a point, when I wanted to do PM one time, I was telling my developer, please fix this thing. Now, which was very terrible. At the end of the day, yes, they might get the job done, but the relationship has ended, right? And like you said, there's some people that just, egoistic or egoic or whatever word it is, that they just don't want to be told what to do, and they still don't want to do what they're meant to do. So it's in fact, it's a different topic entirely. It's something totally we'll need to handle later. So thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. So please, let's now move to Temitope, because Temitope is about to take over the stage, and I think he's going to scatter the table now. So, guys, Isaac, go back to you.
So let me just quickly introduce Temitope. She has actually come at a very great point. So Temitope Omolere leads the software quality assurance team in InterSwitch, and she's a regular speaker at industry events. She has over 10 years of experience in various roles in the software space, spanning software development, testing, test automation, and program management. She loves tinkering with things. Interesting. As a result, she decided to pursue a career in software quality assurance. She likes to say she's paid for being inquisitive, asking questions, and spotting and fixing potential problems in software application long before they become liabilities. Collaboration is one of her core strengths, and she always uses it to find best fit solutions to issues. When asked why she does what she does, she says it's a fine blend of curiosity, desire for excellence, and an innate drive to solve problems. She always wants to know why, so she can make it better. Her career and her organization she works with have afforded her the perfect channel to express all this. When I'm not solving problems at work, you will find Temitope reading a book, having passionate discussion and conversations with our tribe, researching random topics on the internet, or taking a walk. So welcome this evening, Temitope, as she'll be talking to us about software testing as a QA, as a quality assurance engineer. Thank you so much, Temitope. Over to you.
Over to you.
Everybody, good evening. It's a pleasure to be with you this evening, to spend this evening with us all. And I'll try to make this very interactive. Give me a second while I get my screen shared. Everyone can make me create slide in 10 minutes. So you manage whatever you see. All right, just give me a minute while I share my screen.
All right, Temitope is about to blow up all this fight. Once and for all. I would say that Temitope is a mix of everybody. developer. I mean, she have development experience, PNs. I've learned a lot of trick from her. And then testing that one, it's Iran, Van, Gao, and Agbada that she work all together. And yes, yeah, I feel like this table is about to break officially. This table that we have been trying to hold together, we have been holding it left, right, and center, is about to break. Yeah, so I will, in the meantime, I'll be reading the things I'm saying in the chat section. Let me know when you're ready to Nkokwe.
Yeah, let me know when you can see my screen. I'm
Yes.
trying to present.
When you hear and see the following. Okay, yes, we can.
Okay. All right, that's good. So yeah, this is me.
Your face. I
Please
think
go back. I saw one question that's so interesting.
We'll go back. We'll go back to it. Right, we will go
We'll
back to it.
go back to it. We can see the right now, and we can see your slide. Thank
All right,
you.
that's good. So let's just jump right into it. For me, I'm taking it from the perspective of how to fail-proof your product launch. So the first thing is that I'm not going to focus on how to test, what to test, and all of those stories that Iburenke would be sure to give all of you, because I'm sure that Iburenke has all those plenty gist and details. But I'm honestly not going to really focus on that. But I'm just going to lead by asking us this first question, which is which you already saw. When you hear or see the following things, Samsung Galaxy Note, what comes to mind? The Note 7. Does anybody remember the story around what happened in the Note 7?
Battery explosion.
Good. That is one. What else do you remember about that? If you see me looking to the side, it's because I'm trying to look at my second screen so I can see my speaker notes.
All right.
What else do you remember about that incident?
Okay, somebody has jumped to number 2, says CBN in era crypto wahala.
So we all know, but you know, guess what? We remember these things for what? It's a negative impression. For Samsung, they ended up losing about 14.3 billion in investments just because a lot of things went wrong in the product launch. For Inaira, a lot of negative opinions, so much so that the app disappeared from the App Store. You know, there were things like improper, research was not properly done, it was not properly conducted, there was no demand for it really, because is Naira a high value currency that everybody's actually wanting it to demand, that actually makes everybody wants to actually have it really? You know, what is the value proposition for Naira that would make anybody really want a digitized version of that currency? It's my dear country and it's my dear Naira, but honestly and truly, do we have the value backing that demand? And then talk about MTN mobile money. That is the most recent one. We all heard this.
$50-something million
Exactly.
in 3
And
weeks.
today they are suing 18 banks for 22 billion naira. And you're wondering what happened, who went to bed, who was not sleeping, or who slept, because really we don't understand what happened there. How did that happen? And those are some of the things you see when you do not plan your product launch properly, not just from the perspective of the marketing buzz, making noise and letting everybody become aware, but also from the perspective of the things you're taking to market. How have you prepared it to make sure that when it gets to that market, it does what you want it to do, and that your customers are delighted? Because irrespective of whatever it is that you plan to do or not plan to do, if your customers are not delighted, you have failed, which was the case in all of these 3 instances. Everybody was looking forward to MTN mobile money, it's going to be epic, and then it comes and people were cleaning out fraudulently. I don't want to imagine how or how many heads would roll or has rolled on top of what has happened. But you know, we can tell from all of this that when things are not properly tested, a lot of the impacts can be far-reaching. So having clarified that, I will just leave this for you to ruminate on, which is that you cannot make you never get to make a second chance to make a first impression. When you're launching your product for the first time, if you do not plan properly for it, and if you have not done all your proper homework, I can guarantee you that that impression would continue to stick with you. As you can see, when I asked you questions about those particular products I mentioned, we all have a specific thing that came to mind. Samsung Galaxy was exploding batteries. Inaira, messy reviews. MTN Momo, their first week in the markets, it was a loss because there was a lot of exposures. So having clarified that, having made all of those, clear, I have no doubt that you can already tell that software testing and quality assurance is very important to a successful product launch. And so I'll just jump right in and just give us some small gist about it. First of all, from a product development perspective, right, most often than not, it's value-based because you're focused on what value am I going to deliver? And that's it. And from a so I would say value-based product development really is end-to-end process that enables the product team to create the most value with the least effort. It's basically saying that maximum, this phrase we have in Nigeria, little work, maximum results, you know. Everybody wants to do that work where you did small, and then you got a whole lot in return. And that is what a value-based product development perspective is about. But for you to achieve that, you need to be particular about the quality of everything you're doing from the beginning, from the point where you start ideating about that product to say, okay, this is what I want to, this is the concept, this is what I want to deliver. From the moment where you sat down and said, this is what I want to deliver, and you're chatting out, okay, this is what it should do. It should have a login screen. It should be pink on this color and blue here and yellow here. And it should have this feature. I should be able to transfer money safely. I should be able to deactivate to activate my account. Once you start having those thoughts in your mind around the product, you need to start thinking, okay, so for this to happen, what would make it a successful product? What would make it of good quality? You know, I remember, Toby has said more than several times about quality, and Derek as well mentioned it. You cannot have a good product that does not have good quality, and quality is everybody's responsibility. Even though we all tend to be like, but there are people employed to test. So why is it my work? Trust me, quality is your responsibility, because your outputs, if it's of poor quality and you pass it on to the next person, the tester is not going to fix the bug that you created. They can only at best identify it and send it back to you. But how about you create that reputation for yourself as that person who, as a product person, you come up with requirements that are very clear and very succinct, easy to understand and straightforward, that anybody who reads it, whether they wake up from sleep or they've not slept in 3 days and their cognition is low, they would understand it because you've been very clear and explicit about what you're trying to achieve. So really, you cannot not test if you want to have a successful product launch, particularly in the software space. New ideas are evaluated against strategic goals, and you you evaluate the efforts. Things should be in your product checklist.
Yes, we can hear you.
For a second, I was because I said saying something about losing connection. Good. So your testing approach would also reflect the maturity of your product. There is no one way to test. What you're testing will determine how you will test it. Again, Derek has helped me by giving you all the gist of how, the different types of testing you can do. So I'm not even going to bother touching it. Not like I planned to touch it before anyway, but now more than ever, I won't bother touching it because he has already given us all of those details. So having said all of those, I'm now going to pretty much just walk us through some of the quality and some of the reasons why we should do quality assurance when you're launching a product. First of all, it ensures a positive user experience. And I would go back to CBN's eNaira. When CBN launched eNaira and people downloaded the app, it was all kinds of problems immediately was unearthed. And because of that already, the user experience was poor. The app rating in the store was terrible. And literally, Google just took it down. Like, no, they can't be having this in their store. And so that tells you that the user experience was a very poor one. And if you do not test properly, that is what you get. So needless to say, testers should be your best friends, and quality assurance engineers should be your very good friends. And really, we are allies. I tell people that when you're friends with your product, with your quality assurance person, they actually make you look good, because they are able to quickly determine, they are the voice of your customer basically, and so they help tell you immediately that, see, I used this app when I was testing, and this is what the experience I had. And from a user's perspective, this is what they would expect. And because that is what they would expect, it's best that we adjust it this way and modify it this way and add this other thing to make it better. That way, when you go out, you will shine, because suddenly, the product launched and it was very successful. But it was successful because somebody caught the problems that could have happened earlier and helped you mitigate them. And so that is one of the reasons why quality assurance is key. Ibiranka alluded earlier to the fact that typically what tends to happen is that people would wait till the end of the development cycle to then come and ask for the testers to join the team. Unfortunately, at that point, literally, you're using medicine after death, because you have written the code, you have developed the app, you're now asking someone to just come and tell you that it's okay so that you can go to production. Suddenly, you're in a hurry and you're saying that, no, we need to do this thing quickly. But you're trying to do something quickly that you did not develop quickly in the first place. If you really want a successful product launch with a good user experience, you cannot not test. Quality assurance is key. The other The next item is the fact that it limits risks of losses, exposures, and litigations. You heard Toby talk about the product they launched, the one where based on, I mean, you get some reward, hard cash in USD for every enrollment you do for signing up on the platform. Now imagine what they lost because some of the checks were missing. That tells you that if you do not properly test and properly evaluate what are the risks and what are the exposures, and then what are the likelihood of this particular risk occurring so that you can mitigate it properly from the perspective of a tester, you are going to be exposed to risks, to losses, and to litigations. Litigation is basically they're taking you to court and suing you. And that can go any which way because depending on the exposure, first of all, you're going to pay your lawyer, you're going to spend time, which is also costing you money, which is costing you because when you convert your time to money, really, it's expensive. And then at the end of the day, you might even be found wanting and then being told to pay some more money to whoever it was that sued you. So needless to say, you can prevent this literally by just hiring a QA on your team and making sure that the person does what they need to do to ensure that your product is successful. And that immediately eliminates and reduces your cost because trust me, whatever you're going to pay your QA per year cannot equate to what you may be cost, maybe the cost that you might have to incur in the court at the end of the day. So that is one more reason why you need quality assurance. The next is that it provides assurance about your product claims. So if you're going to say, for instance, your product does XYZ, by testing, it gives you the assurance. You can then use your full chest, as we say in Nigeria, to boldly say that, yes, this actually can happen or this works because you have tested and you are sure that it actually works. But if you haven't tested properly, there is that way you will not be confident to open your mouth and say, yes, I know it works because I've checked it. So it's very important that you test because that gives you confidence. It improves your ability to boldly say that your product will deliver the claims and the brand promise, basically. The other perspective is that it shortens your product development cycle, and I'll explain. If at the beginning of your product development, you come up with the requirements and you run it by your tester to say, okay, this is what we're looking to do and this is what we're trying to achieve. By looking at that requirement alone, because that is what your quality assurance person is trained to do, that is what they are wired to think about. They will begin to find the loopholes that may be in that particular requirements that you've drawn up. They'll begin to find immediately where the challenges might be, where are the leakages, where are the security gaps, where are the exposures to cyber security issues that you need to address early. And that helps you to build a robust solution that would actually thrive and survive. So it's not just something that will launch and then crash and burn. It will be something that will then live out this life cycle in peace and, with peace of mind. There's nothing like, I tell my team members that there's nothing like deploying and going home and sleeping soundly because you know that what you deployed is going to behave the way you want it to deploy. But the only way you can assure that is by actually testing. And so that is one key thing. And then the fact that you've checked all of these things early, you've eliminated all the potential problems early, puts you in a better standing, and then you cut off because imagine that you gave out a requirement, you didn't involve your testing team, and then at the end of the development cycle, you invite a tester to come and test what you have already built, that you said is done. You've told management we are done already, we're just trying to do a few checks, which is what typically happens. You'll be like, oh, no, it's just testing, it should take like 1 day or less. Now the tester comes and then finds that there are a lot of issues and challenges and security and loopholes in what you have deployed. What that effectively means is that you're now going to go back to the drawing board. The developer that wrote that code wrote it 3 months ago. He has forgotten what he was thinking when he wrote that code. He needs to first go back and then understand, oh yes, it was when I was sipping red wine the other day that I wrote this. When I was writing this was a thought that was in my mind. And so this is what I'm trying to achieve. All of that time, context switching is already eating into the time that it would take to actually launch. But if you brought your QA team earlier into the process, which is why we always encourage agile testing actually, because the agile testing encourages side-by-side working together with the developer and with the whole team. Everybody's on the same page and doing everything together to achieve the result. So you cut off all the wastage and all the time losses that you would have suffered if you did quality assurance early in the cycle. And finally for today, what I have here is that it boosts customer confidence and trust. Somebody talked earlier about the fact that when you launch a product and it behaves the way it should behave, or it behaves badly actually, your customers will be quick to go and make noise and be like, this product is very terribly behaved and it does not act well. I'm sure we've been on Twitter where you see them dragging various banks for different reasons. The same thing will happen to you if you do not test as you should, when you should, On the flip side, when you do that and you test properly, your customers are sure that whatever you're giving to them is value. Today, nobody hesitates to use Google products because we know that it will work, it will behave. It is rare for you to hear that, oh, a bug was reported in Google, or at least a flimsy bug. I'm sure they have, and I'm sure people report bugs, but you don't find flimsy bugs. You don't try to log into Gmail and it's not logging in. It's a very rare, almost never happens occurrence. You don't try to use your Google product, Docs, Google Docs, for instance, and then you start finding all kinds of funny things happening in it because somebody has done the good work to make sure it happens. And so that gives people confidence to even post their whole infrastructure on Google. Sometimes some companies use Google for their email provider and for their document management system because they know they can trust it. And that boosts customer confidence and trust. Today, I work with InterSwitch, and we understand that for you to do any transaction in Nigeria, at some point, InterSwitch is somewhere in that transaction. Knowing that we know we cannot afford to go down. It doesn't mean that we don't have issues sometimes, but because we understand the mandate we have, which is that our customers must always be happy and we must always be up. So uptime is important to everybody. So it's part of the things. So knowing that, okay, this is what I'm serving, these are my customers, and this is what I need to provide, it impacts how you go about your product development and why you would involve quality assurance in that flow. By doing that, it ensures and assures everybody that, okay, this thing will work the way we want it to work. And your customers too will be confident in you. Yes, there are things, again, the other thing is because you know what you're trying to achieve and you've understood what your customers want, when you've promised them that this is what they will get from you, they would get it because that is what you're focused on. And your whole engineering process is wired to cater to that particular need. And so with that, I will bring this, my 10 minutes talk, hopefully it's no longer than 20, to a close. Thank you, everybody, and I'm open to questions.
Mhm. Thank you, Isaac. Where are down? I've been seeing a lot of questions in the DM. Is
Oh, yeah,
Isaac
can
still?
you- Great.
Yeah, Isaac, go ahead.
Yeah. So, is there any question from anyone? Right now, I don't have any question I want to throw to her, but I'm open to having questions from the house. Does anybody here have question?
Okay, so I think I think you are still answering to the issue of developers and product managers. Okay, I don't think anybody asked questions.
Okay.
Guys, do you have questions? No. Hey, okay. You want to go harvest question? I'm not have she cannot just go like that too. I have to go harvest out questions. But possibly in the course of this, people will submit their questions because they can't unmute themselves. But if you want to unmute yourself, you can raise up your hand. I would unmute you. But I think that will be all from Temitope. Thank you so much, Temitope.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay, hold up. Tell me, we should give Tommy an award today. Tommy said, what does the test summary result entails?
So in simple English, because I don't like to speak, if you want to get the plenty technical big English parts, Ibironke will totally give you that when you join the next cohort of the Testify program. But basically, test summary, just like the name says, is saying that, okay, what happened during the testing process? And then this is the summary of it. This is the very concise, straight to the point brief that tells you what happened when the testing for that particular product feature sprint occurred. So it's saying, for instance, in this particular sprint that we just ended, we had 10 features. And in the 10 features, for each of those features, we had 15 tests. For the 15 tests, 2 failed, 10 passed, and 3 were inconclusive. And basically, so that just gives you a quick overview of what testing of the testing activity that occurred and how it played out. So that anybody, because again, knowing your audience, there are different people that need different reports for different purposes. If I'm going to give a presentation to my MD, I'm sure he doesn't want to know how many tests I ran because it's not value to him. What he wants to know is how will this product perform in the market and how, as your work, ensure that it performs the way we want it to perform. So when you're giving a test summary, again, it's contextual. Who am I presenting this particular summary report to? Who wants to know about it? Is it my engineering team? If my engineering team, then sure, I can start giving them figures of number of tests I wrote, number of tests that passed, number that failed, number that were inconclusive, or number that were blocked, all of those coming. And so it's basically a way of letting your audience understand what happened in the testing activity of the particular product, the feature, or the sprint you just completed. I hope that helps clarify for you, Aditomiwa.
Yeah, I think it does. I think you really hit the nail on the head. Except I want to speak big grammar, actually. Yeah. Yeah, she said it does. And because of that, okay, go ahead, Isaac. I just wanted to quickly share something from what the Temitope already answered. I wanted to share a sample of words. I mean, I have some of them quite very handy. So I have a sample of a test summary report here. I believe Tomiwa can see it. Just on a very simple, light note, even from your Jira, you can just get something really light, telling you how many test cases was executed, how many execution happened, how many passed, how many failed, how many do you have to retest, how many are you currently testing. Yes, along the line, they can start saying, okay, there were so many 5 priority, this was high, this was risky, this was low, you know. Yeah, but basically, it's just showing you the activities that goes on in the testing phase. Yeah, go ahead. I wanted to say something.
No, I think somebody raised their hand, so I was going to say Mustafa.
Mustafa, please
Okay.
unmute yourself.
Mustafa, please unmute yourself. Hi, Mustafa, are you there?
Okay, maybe it was a mistake.
Can you hear us?
Tommy is asking, what tool can you use to generate that report? Depends on the kind of Jira advanced tool that you're using. So you can use Jira itself. You can use Google Doc or MS Word or whatever it is you're using. And it depends on the kind of testing you're also doing. If it's API now, I mean, Newman does fantastic things. If it's automation for web, Alio, even web and mobile, Alio Reports does great for me. So it depends on the kind of things you're doing. But when it comes to your basically just use MS Word or Google Doc, or even your Excel. Even when you're writing the test, there's a way you can connect it. Mustafa, are you there?
I think yes. Okay, yeah, Mustafa is here.
Okay, go ahead, Mustafa.
Good evening.
Yeah,
Good
go ahead.
Good evening. I really appreciate all the presentations so far. I'm very grateful for this, especially the one from Temitope, because that was when I joined.
Okay.
I would just like to know what's the range of salary, or what salary really makes sense for a software person? Maybe a range or
So
something.
the salary range is wide,
Because I
and
realize
that's
some people are underpaid.
okay. So can I go ahead and answer now, or do you still want to add something to that?
Yeah, go ahead. Thank you. Go
Okay,
ahead.
good. So when it comes to salary range, the truth is one, there is really no fixed range. What I tell people is, if you want to determine how, depending on who is interviewing you, you need to know what that company pays for that role, period. And there is no fixed role. So for instance, today, if you're interviewing for a remote job, say in the US, you can get anything from 3,000 to 10,000 USD, even for a QA, monthly. So the question is, what company is interviewing you? What is their budget for that particular role? And what is your own, how well are you able to convince your recruiter that you're supposed to command top dollar, basically? So if you show up at your interview and you're able to convince the recruiter that, oh, you're such a good resource that they should pay you the highest in the particular range they have, then you would get that amount. And if you're not able to convince them, then they'll offer you something different. The other thing is also be willing and ready to negotiate. Half the time from this part of the world, people receive job offers and without negotiating, just collect whatever it is they got and be like, oh, I'm grateful that I got a job. I don't even want to think about negotiating. So there is no fixed amount really for what is obtainable. And that's just the truth. The question is, how well are you able to present your skills in a way that ensures that they value you that well? Because, for instance, if it's a part-time job, whatever you're going to get from a part-time role is not going to be the same as what you get from a full-time role. Then if the job is based in, say, the US versus based in some other Eastern Europe or even African country, that would also determine what you pay. The other part is this. We mistake the fact that because tech is hot right now and supposedly tech pros, in quotes, are the ones cleaning out, everybody assumes that any tech job I get must pay me stupid amount of dollars. When I say stupid, I mean very unbelievable lots of money kind of situation. But that is not the truth. The industry also determines EdTech even though it is tech, doesn't pay as much as fintech. So those are all things you need to be aware of. If you're not aware of that, you will shoot yourself in the leg, because if you interview with an edtech and expecting them to pay you the same 10K USD per month that a fintech that has lots of investors and in the very long run way is also offering. EdTech doesn't have as much funding as fintech does today. So really, you also have to be aware of all of those factors in determining what your pay would be. But there is no ceiling at the end of the day. The question is, how well can you negotiate, and how well can you sell your skills to position yourself for those top dollar that you're looking to get.
All right. Thank you very much, Temitope. Okay, so Mustafa, I hope that answers your question. You can also drop your message in the chat section. Thank you so much, Temitope. Isaac.
Yep. So, great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Temitope. Thank you, Derek. Thank you, Otokete. And I want to quickly copy something, as in I want to borrow a line from Otokete. She used to say this: iterate until awesome. And that iteration, you know where you need to iterate most of the times from what your QA engineers get to tell you, right? This is what you've done so far. Before you hit the market, you have to do some internal iteration first. And that is very, very important. Thank you so much for contributing. So now let's just quickly continue. We are getting to the final part of this session, of this whole webinar, right? So we'll quickly talk about how to integrate software test processes into our current process. And I would like Ibironke to quickly talk about this, just very briefly, just 1 minute, Ibironke.
Okay, I will try. All right, so let's continue. Now that you heard from the growth manager, from the head of QA, from a lead product manager, you have heard the importance, and I will not be going back into that topic again, except you want us to sleep here today. So how do you integrate software testing products in your current products? I believe that I'm talking to people that already have, products currently undergoing development, or you're already, in fact, you're already outside there, but testing was not part of it. I think that the first way for you to start is to educate your team on their continuous towards quality. Temitope mentioned this, Derek mentioned this. You have to educate your team on how they contribute quality to the overall quality assurance delivery. Somebody will say that, we already have a quality assurance person in our team. Do I still need to test my product, or do I still need to look into quality to say, yes, you need to? And like I gave in the chat section, I was responding to someone the other time. I said, you are going to spend 2 seconds to write A plus B is equals to 18, which is wrong. And you're still going to spend the same time to write A plus B is equals to C, which is right. So being quality conscious is not an extra work. It's a mindset. So educate your team member. It could be the engineering manager responsibility, you as the founder responsibility, the product person has responsibility, even the quality assurance in the team. When they bring it to you and say, oh, this is the reason why we need to test this product, or this is the issue that we're having that we need to fix. You don't have to sit to be defensive about it. You need to understand that they are focusing on delivering a quality product. So you should be part of it. The second thing is to onboard testing expert or team from the product initiation stage. I said it a lot of the time because testers are always, most of the time, 99.999% of the time, we are being employed at the end of the product development. They just bring up and say, test this product and find bug for me. It's like we are the bug hunters. But no, the best way to do is to bring them on from the beginning of your product. You want to develop a product. The moment you are employing a PM, you're implementing a developer, bring in your tester, right? And there's a difference between a tester and a test team. For the beginning, if you're just starting up or you just have a small product you want to do, you can just have one tester, But as time goes on and your product, starts scaling up, you should understand that it is no longer a ratio of 1 tester to 5 developers again. It will not work. You might not be able to get the best out of that person, even if the person is good. And the third thing is to delegate testing responsibilities. Like I think I already mentioned, this tester is not the same as a testing. There are people that all they want to do is to do automation testing. I personally will not join your team if all you do is you want me to come and do automation testing in your team. I don't have tested, or you have not even manually tested the product before, and then you say you want to come out with this. What am I doing? No, I'm going to spend the whole years just doing writing test case and executing manual tests because I will not be able to automate it. So delegators know when you need to bring other people on board and not just one person doing everything. Outsource your beta testing to an external team. I say this a lot of the time because whether you like it or not, your developer, your testers, they are engineers. Their mind are always being, they understand the product. So there are some things they can easily overlook. Should you outsource it automatically to a different set of people entirely? Maybe not, but you can bring in a few sample of your users to actually do a beta testing on your products, right? Don't always expect that your tester should be the one to do it, because yes, they will do a good job, but will it be really thorough? Because their mind again is already compromised. They are also engineers. They have been part of the product from the beginning to the end, so they can easily overlook things. And lastly, make decisions from the testing result. Like Tommy asked recently and was asking, what do we have in the test summary report? I've worked with some PMs, again, apologies, no harms, where they see that, this issue, and it's high, but I mean, no, it's not that they will really see it. Let's just go live, and again, I don't know why we set deadline without everybody in the team being in the know. I understand the stakeholders want us to go live on the 10th of July, but again, you have not even asked your team if they can even deliver on the 10th of July before you set that date. So please make decision from the test result. When they present the test report to you, I think Isaac mentioned it, I think Mutokwe mentioned it, look at the result and make a decision from it. Don't throw it away, don't overlook it, don't think it is important. In fact, before you go live, my current manager will say that, please, if you can send me the test results. Let's know if we should go live or not. Yeah, so these are very easy way for you to integrate software testing products into your current processes. I think I've answered that. Any question? Thank you. Isaac, did I try?
Yeah. So I think there is no question right now. So let's just quickly move forward, and this is just a quick meet. So let's quickly meet. I want to meet this ProductDive, and we also want to meet actually I will be inviting Toby again. Come and talk to us. What?
This is actually like a breakout session where we have like
session. Okay, yeah. Great. So this breakout session, we're going to meet if you're interested in quality assurance or if you're interested in product management. So you can actually break out to the session you want. Toby Otokite will be willing to host you, where if you're interested in product management, trainings, you want to understand better what's the role of product managers, how can you actually push your career in product management, or if you're interested in software quality assurance, you want to understand what is the role of Testify, what's Testify doing to help improve product quality in industries, what are various offerings that they have. So you can join the breakout session, and from there we'll be good to go, right?
Okay, so just on a quick one, I don't know if they will be able to do all of that within just 5 minutes or so, but we are going to be breaking you out to 5 rooms right now. If you meet with anybody there, feel free to ask them questions, and yeah, give your comment, ask questions from people generally, and we'll just come back in the next 2 minutes, right? So yeah, yeah, I think everybody's now out.
Yeah,
people are going to different sessions. I really don't know how many minutes I said. Hello, everyone. You can unmute yourself to talk, please. Hello, can you hear me? Hello? Hello? You can unmute yourself, please. Nobody wants to say anything, no. What is going on? Yes, I think we needed to arrest Isaac. Isaac did not give us details of what we should be doing in our breakout rooms. The breakout room was actually meant for us to mix with each other, you know, and then sort of ask questions, get to know each other better. I'm still expecting other people to join back the room. So that was a miscommunication from your end, Isaac, PM.
Big apologies for that, right? I think I had a little mix up on that. So pardon me.
You see, you're not managing us right. Don't mind me, guys. Don't mind me. So let's just wait. We can still see more people joining in. All right. So the next thing we are moving to quickly, I think in the next 16 minutes, we should be out of here already. Sam said we understood. Let's go for the second iteration. No, you're not doing that again. All right, so the next thing we want to do from here is to tell you about ProductDive. Basically, if you know ProductDive, you know that their slogan is iterate until it is awesome, right? ProductDive helps product managers and aspiring PMs, you know, to become an highly skilled, to be highly skilled so that they can build tech product that serves customers better. I mean, you just don't want to do that. You just don't want to not test the product well, if you get what I mean. So yes, they are authorized testing partners with Association of International Product Marketing and Management. So that's AIPMM. That's the world's largest product management association to provide their product management certification courses and exams for whoever wants to become a certified product manager. So you want to become a certified product manager, this is where you need to go. You want to learn about product management, this is where you need to go. What they do is that they train you. If you want to switch into product management, you know, they have a transition into product management course. If you are already like a product manager, but you want to get more clearance, you want to like become pro like you are, you can take the complete product management workshop. And of course, if you want to have the certified product management certification, which they have partnered with AIPMM, you can also like reach out to them. And of course, you can see who they are expert from, right? This is where their expert are from, and they'll place that team up. I believe you know these logos. You know, when you know a good product, you know a good product, right? When you see those logos, you know what they stand for. They stand for quality. Anyways, I always find quality in every product. Don't mind me. So yes, these are the products that they offer, and you can always check them out. If you want to check them out, you know, they have a global 6,000 community members. They have over 700 product alumni that have gone through their program and completed it. They have over 50 hiring partners, and then they have 100% AIPMM success rate. So if you want to know more, if you want to take a course on ProductDive, please feel free to check out ProductDive.com. Okay? ProductDive.com, and they have a special gift for you. If you are signed up for this program, you are going to just, of course, we cannot say 8 p.m. again because we thought we were going to be done with this program by 8 p.m. Apologies about that, but of course, after this session, you are going to get your product launch checklist. So you want to deploy your product, you want to know what you should check for before you go live. They are going to be giving you a gift, right? This is a gift time. So they're going to be giving you things you should check out for as your product launch. So a mail will come to you with a link to replay session, also with this product launch checklist. So yeah, kudos to them, and thanks to them. We really appreciate that. If you want to contact them, this is their phone number, this is their website, and of course their email address is admissions. Please ignore the I at the back. It's admissions@productdive.com. That is my typo. Apologies about that. So yeah, for Testify Limited, this, like we mentioned earlier, ProductDive and Testify is partnering to give you this program. And of course, I mean, from today's success program, we believe that more of it will come. So talking about Testify, quality first. I mean, that is just it. So our own is, we don't even need you to keep iterating. Just have quality mindset first, please. Quality first. So when it comes to Testify, we are a pan-Africa software testing company with reach in US, UK, providing quality and reliable software testing services to organizations across multiple industries. We also run an academy where where software testers and other tech talents are being trained with a vision to raise the next generation of African software testers for Africa and a global tech system. Our goals is basically to help startups and product-led companies like yourself to launch quality products by leveraging our expert team of software testers in Africa, Europe, and US. Also, we have a goal to help interested tech novice and non-tech professionals easily and smoothly have a career switch into tech industry and also become a tech pro, like in a very short time. Thirdly, to promote inclusion and bridge the gap of insufficient female tech experts in the African tech industry by ensuring that 80% of our programs are targeted towards raising and training female software engineers. And lastly, to reduce the unemployment rate in Africa by exposing them to highly sought after tech skills in software engineering. Our achievements so far, of course, we have trained over 10,000 individuals. We have trained over 50 businesses in software testing. Our community comprises of 213 junior testers, intermediate, senior, and tech leads. We have been featured on various amazing platforms that you can see on your screen, like TechTrend, Simo Media, Forbes, District Africa, Tribune, Business Insider, TechTrend, TechCrunch, TechAbout, our network, and many more. Of course, I can't put them all yet. Our services, training, consulting, and outsourcing, and where few of our students have worked. Let me just say few of where they have worked, because much more than this. And of course, we provide as of today, we have 2 trainings. You are tech enthusiasts, you want to learn software testing, you don't have an idea about tech, or you don't have an idea about software testing. We have the Switch to Software Testing program that lasts for 3 months, and all you need is a smartphone and laptop, internet connection, and a mind that is ready to learn. Our program will start actually July 11, and you can sign up with testcodecamp.com. Okay. Of course, you're already a tester, you want to upgrade, to know how to do automation testing. It's good to have 2 skills together. You can also sign up for our simplified test automation for manual tester course. Coincidentally, that program sign up is ending today. If you want to check it out, just click on big link for Testify Automation School, and you get access to it. I will try and drop the link for you in your inbox in the mail we are going to be sending to you as well. But yes, these are the link there. Products that we have tested and we have worked with, right? Train Quarters, Foodco, Marketplace Data. We have trained testers at UPA and TQ and many more like that. But this is our testing services. We run a subscription-based kind of testing services. So to avoid let's do a meeting, let's plan, let's organize, it can be very draining. So we run a subscription-based, so you can always sign up for us per month. When you think we are done with your work, you can say bye-bye if you feel like. But we have companies that currently, most of the companies we mentioned above, are currently on 6 months subscription, 3 months, 1 month. But for the sake of these services, right? With our startups, you get testers, we have the pro subscription, we have the premium subscription model, we have the enterprise, and we have the dedicated team. But for the sake of this webinar, we are giving out a before launch free testing services. Now, this is our special gift to you. Just like ProductDive gives you a gift, we are also giving you a gift. We have a freebie for you. They are in 2 options. One is, let us test your product for free for 1 week, right? We do a quick test on it for 1 week. We are going to strictly doing manual testing. We are going to be reporting the bugs we identify. We are going to be presenting the report we find to you, and we hope you are going to make a decision from that report. So that is the free services we are giving to every product that is represented here today, if and only if you choose to take up these opportunities before 6 p.m. tomorrow. Okay. I will share the link, which is on the screen, but I will share the link that you can use to sign up your business. It could be API, it could be web, it could be mobile application, name it. Just sign up and we'll test it for you for free. Like I said, we have enough hands on decks for your product. And another offer that we are also giving, which is another bonus. You guys are lucky, but though, for this one, we are giving you to sign up for our startup subscription, our pro subscription, and our premium subscription. So you sign up for 1 month, and we also give you a 1 month free subscription. Okay, so that means you are paying 200K for a starter subscription to get 2 months value. So yes, this is also a benefit you can choose to do. If you want to know more details about what each of this subscription model entails, I'll ask you to visit the link here, which I would try as much as possible to drop the link in the chat section. Then you can visit it and you can sign up your business. All right. So I think what? All right, sorry for the distraction. Let me just see if we have something last year to show. I think that is it. That's the bonus we have for you. So if you have a product that you'd like us to test for you, feel free to use the link in the chat section to submit your product. Like I mentioned earlier, the process is very straightforward. The first thing you need to do is to fill the form. That is how you start. You fill the form for the products to be tested. So sorry about these distractions. I'm so sorry about that. Let me just quit that. Yeah, first thing you do is you make a choice. What kind of subscription do you want to do? Okay. What kind of subscription model do you want to do? Is it the free 1 week testing you want, or you want to do either the startup or the pro of the premium testing services? Make a choice. Fill the registration flow that I sent to you. With that registration flow comes with the details of each of this subscription model and the amount you are going to pay. The link to make the payment is all there. But if it is the free one, you get to submit your details for free, and how we are going to contact you immediately we get it. Our next thing after that is we meet with you to onboard, right? Get on board on your project, and we applied our 3-phase model. We test, you release, and then you launch. No, you test, we confirm that it is fine, and then we release the product. So those are the 3. So this is the bonus we have for every product that is represented here today. And if you want to contact us, feel free to contact us on our phone number, our emails, and of course visit our website. I don't have any further question, and this brings us to the end of my presentation. Thank you. Isaac, over to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ibironke. And I think this actually is bringing us to the very, very tail end of our session today. We are very grateful to everyone who has been part of this from the beginning till now. Thank you for holding on with us, and thank you for your contributions, your time, and everything. And before we go, I would like to say that never miss that opportunity that ProductDive and Testify is actually presenting to you today. Always make sure you take advantage of it. Sign up on the platform. Sign up with ProductDive. Sign up with Testify. If you sign up with a URL before you join, and you got an email before this event started, this webinar started, feel free to check back your email. I believe that by now you should have an email from ProductDive, and also the freebies from Testify. If you have a product that's already completed, never ever miss this. And if you're not in the right, maybe you don't have the opportunity to be the one to take the decision, pass this information down across to your what's it called, to your senior management, for them to be able to take advantage of this subscription. Don't forget that the bonus from Testify ends by 6 p.m. on Saturday. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a lovely weekend. Enjoy your great time at work. And tomorrow is TGIF. Never forget to enjoy yourself. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Great one, guys. Great job. Thank you.
Okay, bye. Oh, okay. So someone from EdV says that we are currently looking for a QA tester or testing. I'm a dev at EdVis. Okay, so I would say that Clifford, you can just send me an email directly with the job description of what you want, the skill set you want, the budget for the role. I don't know if he's still on this call. So please do that. Send me a mail with the details. Thank you very much.
I can't wait to see you. You are the girl I've been waiting for. Do you know, how much I really need you? I regret for the day when I can finally kiss you. You know, saying I'm really for you. Oh, for you. That's why my heart is a beat like you can. You can. But I want to know when let me out. I see for you, I need that. Baby, you are going to be my daddy. See, I need not give the word to you. Give you what I have. Oh,